Former Trump campaign aide Aaron Perini is the communications director of Never Back Down PAC. Also live in studio is Gerard Filitti, senior counsel of the Lawfare Project and a political strategist. So we'll start with Rick here. This Axios report's been out for a couple of days here. Are you surprised by it? And what was the
No, not surprised at all. If you've been around Washington, as long as Joe Biden has, I mean, he has quite a reputation for his anger on both sides of the aisle. People are very well aware of it. So I didn't see this as, I'm glad Axios is reporting it. I think more focus needs to be on that, particularly in light of what Biden tried to do in attempts to unify the country. You don't unify by degrading and, bringing others down at that level. So I'm glad it's finally getting the attention it deserves. But at the end of the day, every president goes off on anger issues at some point in their presidency. It's a tough job, to say the least.
Yeah, that is very true. One of the most important jobs in the country, to lead it and lead it well and respect others. Here's also what the Axios report had to say. Behind closed doors, Biden has such a quick trigger temper that some aides try to avoid meeting alone with him. Some take a colleague almost as a shield against a solo blast. And it goes on. I'm not going to read this on your screen because I would be canceled, but all these curse words that Sean was alluding to, again, this is citing current and former Biden aides. Aaron, is this a side that we see of the president in a public setting, and how might this behind-the-scenes knowledge potentially impact his current re-election campaign?
Well, you do see little bits of this in interactions, right? You've seen him yell at reporters. You've seen him become aggressive. This is not a personality trait that's necessarily hidden by Biden, but it hasn't been amplified by any measure so far by the mainstream corporate media, because they aren't willing to continue to engage the White House in a fashion to say that the way the president, what he has said about disrespect and treating people with dignity, isn't the measure by the man of which we see and interact with on the day-to-day. The White House press corps has been shy to engage on that, but it's good to see that there is reporting on this. I don't know how much this would affect a re-election campaign. There are plenty of politicians in this world who say much worse things to their staff. That's not an excuse, but it's a reality of working in politics. And so I don't know that this will affect his campaign, but maybe reporters will be more keen now to push back when the president does go off and yell at them, which he is known to do.
Cursing at staffers, yelling at staffers, making staffers feel so uncomfortable they don't want to be alone in the room. But to Aaron's point, look, if you worked in some sort of employment at some point, you've seen your bosses blow up. This kind of stuff unfortunately, it does happen. Gerard, but I think if you look past that and bring you into this conversation, reporters are reporting on this again. And it's not Newsmax reporting on it, or perhaps another conservative-leaning network reporting on it. There's Axios reporting on it. There's actually interest in who Joe Biden really is behind closed doors versus what is showcased there on your TV set, or perhaps there in news articles written about him.
And that's the real story. We didn't see this level of reporting in the last election. Biden was still isolated and insulated from public scrutiny. Now we're seeing a much more ready willingness on the part of news outlets to peek behind the curtain and see what Joe Biden is really like. Combine that with questions about his age and his competency, and you have a more transparent election. So this is progress. It's surprising that it took this long, but it's a good sign that we're seeing reporting on this.
Yeah, there's the reporting. All right. We appreciate the time of Rick Gates, Aaron Perini, and Gerard Filitti. Thank you so much. We appreciate you weighing in on that.